Namaste, students, and welcome. Every single day, all of us have to make choices without knowing exactly what's going to happen. Think about a farmer looking at the clouds, deciding when to sow seeds, or a doctor studying a report before recommending a treatment. This isn't some new, modern problem. Nope. Making smart decisions when things are uncertain is a timeless skill, a kind of wisdom that our ancestors in India practiced for centuries. Today, we're going to explore this ancient wisdom and see how, with the power of data, you can learn to think just like a risk analyst. I want you to imagine an ancient rishi, a physician with incredible knowledge, and in front of him are all these different herbal preparations. He knows that one of them is the most potent, the one that will bring the most healing, but which one is it? How does he possibly choose the right medicine when the results aren't guaranteed? So, this is the Rishi's big challenge. He has this collection of medicinal samples, and they all have different levels of potency. His main goal is to find the most powerful one. To solve this, let's put on our risk analyst hats together and start with a simple first guess. Okay, so our story is actually based on a real set of data. We have 178 of these ancient medicinal samples to work with. We're going to analyze them together, combining that ancient wisdom of the Rishi with the tools we have today. For right now, this number, 178, that's our entire universe of possibilities. So this brings us to our very first question. If the Rishi has to just close his eyes and pick one sample at random, what's the chance he picks the most potent kind? We're going to call this most powerful type class 0. So what's the probability of finding it just by pure luck? Well, to figure that out, we can do something really straightforward. We just need to count. It's that simple. We look through all 178 samples, and we find that 59 of them belong to that super potent group, class 0. So, the probability is just 59 divided by the total, which is 178. And when we do that math, we get our answer. There's a 33% chance of picking a high potency sample totally at random. This is our starting point, our baseline, a 1 in 3 chance. That's not terrible for a blind guess, but a wise physician like our Rishi, he'd want to do better. So the real question is, can we? This chart here really gives us the whole picture. It shows the probability for all 3 different potency classes. And you can see that the middle bar, class 1, is actually the most common one. But our goal, remember, is to find the most potent medicine, class 0. And that's the first bar, sitting right there at 33%. But then, something happens. Our Rishi, through his careful observation, discovers a clue, a brand new piece of information that might just change everything. And this, right here, is where our analysis gets really interesting. And here it is. This is the clue. The Rishi notices a pattern. He sees that the most effective, most powerful samples all seem to have a high concentration of a particular ingredient. Let's just call it compound A. Wow, this is a massive breakthrough. He's just connected something he can measure to the outcome he wants. Okay, so let's follow the Rishi's lead on this. We're now going to ignore all the samples that have a low amount of compound A. We're going to narrow our focus, looking only at that smaller, more promising group of samples where the concentration of compound A is high. So how does this change our chances? And this just brilliantly shows the power of having a clue. Look at that jump. Our original chance was 33%. But now, by only looking at samples with high compound A, our chance of finding a potent class 0 sample has skyrocketed to 62%. It's nearly doubled. That's amazing. What we've just done here has a name. It's called conditional probability. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful idea. It's just the chance of something happening given that something else is already true. In our case, our given was that the sample had a high concentration of compound A. But a really good analyst doesn't just stop after one discovery. They look at all the different angles. So what if the clue we found pointed in the exact opposite direction? What would that tell us? This right here is the heart of real analysis. So let's ask the opposite question. We know that a high concentration of compound A is a really good sign. But what if a sample has a very low concentration? Is that also useful information? Does that help us understand the risks? And this chart makes the answer crystal clear. Look, on the left, you've got our 62% chance if compound A is high. But look over to the right. If a sample has a low concentration of compound A, the chance of it being the most potent kind absolutely plummets to just 2.3%. That is also incredibly valuable information. It tells us exactly what to avoid. So here's the main point. We started out with a lot of uncertainty, right? But by finding a clue, a condition, and then testing it, we turn that uncertainty into a powerful guide. We now know which samples are much more likely to work, and just as importantly, which ones are almost certain to fail. This is what risk analysis is all about. Now, this way of thinking, it definitely didn't end with our ancient rishi. This exact same logical process, this powerful use of conditional probability, is the foundation for some of the most advanced work being done right here in India today. I mean, just think about it. When ISRO is planning a mission to the moon or to Mars, they are constantly updating probabilities based on new data they get. When a doctor is diagnosing an illness, they're using conditional probability based on your test results. It's used to forecast our vital monsoons, to analyze the financial markets, and even to plan strategy in a game of cricket. So, if there's one thing I really want you to take away from this, it's that probability isn't just some chapter in your maths textbook. It's so much more. It is a framework for clear thinking. It's a real world tool for making smarter, more informed decisions in a world that's always going to be full of uncertainty. And that brings me to a final question for you. This ancient wisdom, which is now a powerful modern tool, is in your hands. So, in your studies, in your hobbies, in whatever career you choose, what clues will you start looking for to turn uncertainty into your advantage? What conditions are you going to test to make better decisions? Really think about it. The power of the risk analyst is now yours.